Well, good morning and welcome to this Friday morning devotion. And today I'm in Manteo at one of the docks not far from downtown. And it's a foggy day. Things are not so clear to be seen. And in Scripture, sometimes for some people, things are kind of foggy. Jesus comes on the scene and he says things crystal clear. There's no fogginess about what he's saying and teaching. Sometimes people understand it clearly, and sometimes they don't understand it clearly, because when we have a long tradition or a history of understanding something a certain way, it's very difficult to suddenly just see it a different way. And so sometimes it takes processing. And sometimes it takes other people convincing, but in this case, Jesus, he speaks the truth. And when Jesus speaks, you can believe him. Anybody else, you got to weigh it all according to who's talking and all that kind of stuff. And you got to figure out, what is being influenced according to reason, tradition, experience. But the Scripture remains true. And Jesus, when he speaks, it's absolute truth in the most divine way. So here is the Scripture of the day, and then I'm going to give you the context. And the Scripture of the day says, John chapter 8, verse 31, to the Jews who had believed him. So obviously Jesus is talking to some Jews, and some of them actually believed. So he says, to the Jews who had believed him, Jesus said, if you hold to my teaching, you are really my disciples. Then you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. You've heard that before. The truth will set you free. Well, Jesus said, I am the way, the truth, and the life, and no one comes to the Father except through me. Well, that's Jesus' words telling the truth. But Jesus says the truth will set you free. And he knows he's talking about himself, because he is that truth. Now let's look at the context of this passage. He's talking to a group of Jews, we know. And we also know that not everyone that he was talking to necessarily believed him. Just because Jesus said something, not everybody believed it. But to those who did believe, then we know that was his response. Now look at the context and go up to verse 27. He's talking to the group of Jews. They're debating with him about things. They don't understand some of the things he's saying. And then he says, verse 27, they did not understand that he was telling them about his Father. So Jesus said, when you have lifted up the Son of Man, then you will know that I am he, and that I do nothing on my own, but speak just what the Father has taught me. The one who sent me is with me. He has not left me alone, for I always do what pleases him. Even as he spoke, many believed in him. He's talking to a group of Jews. There's some difficulty in understanding. He explains to them about even when he's lifted up, he's talking about on the cross, then you will understand that, all this is from God, and I'm only doing what God has directed me and told me to do. And then you'll understand. And at that moment, the Scripture says in verse 30, even as he spoke, many believed in him. And then the very next words are, to the Jews who had believed him, he said. So you get that scene, you get that picture. All these people Jesus is talking to, some believe, some don't believe. But as he's speaking, some of those Jews believed him. And so then he addressed those who believe. Because you know what? When someone believes, Jesus knows it right then. He knows the heart of the person, even as they move from unbelief to belief. Jesus sees it right there. And when you believe, he sees it even in that moment. And here's what he says: if you hold to my teachings, you are really my disciples. Then you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. And it's no different today. It is the truth, who is Jesus, that sets you free. It's amazing, isn't it? We can go to the Scripture. We can read Jesus' very own words. You know, a lot of Bibles have it's called a red letter edition. They have Jesus' words in red. Well, if the Scripture is true, then all of the Scripture is just as true as any other Scripture. But isn't it really amazing that we can read in those red letters the words of Jesus, the one who is the truth? So when he says something like this, when he says, you will know the truth and the truth will set you free, you can believe it. Well, thanks for being with me this morning, and if you need some conversation along something we've talked about today or anything else, give me a call, and I look forward to talking to you soon. God bless.